What's up guys, my name is Ace and welcome back to another gun guide. In today's episode, we're going to be diving deep into the stats of the Maddox RFB, and toward the end, I'm going to be sharing some excellent attachment combinations for you. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at the raw power of this gun. And our rate of fire is 723 rounds per minute, which is a bit faster than average for an assault rifle, but it's not too crazy. And with this, it's going to be a 4 to 6 shot kill depending on our range. And what this means is right up close, we have a 4-shot time to kill potential of 249 milliseconds, which is the fastest out of the full auto assault rifles in the game. So it really excels when it comes to time to kill, not just up close, but also at a distance. However, when it comes to headshots, they're not particularly effective. In fact, in the maximum damage range without the damage barrel, headshots are literally useless. It'll still be a 4-shot kill if every bullet hits the head. And then even at a range, you've got to hit way too many headshots mixed in with body shots to help. So I wouldn't bother really actively focusing on headshots unless you're going for camos, because you're not really going to see that much of a benefit there. And you don't really need headshots. Your time to kill to the body is great as is. Now, getting into our ranges, as you can see here, our 4-shot kill range extends out to about 19 meters, whereas our 5-shot kill range is 33 meters. These range values are not great for an assault rifle. They're not terrible by any means, but I would say this gun definitely doesn't excel in the range department, which is a fair trade-off considering up close we do have the fastest full auto time to kill potential. Also, our bullet velocity is noticeably below average for an assault rifle at 650 meters per second, giving us a hit scan range at 32.5 meters. As for barrels that impact range or velocity, the long barrel on this will increase our ranges by 30%, the velocity barrel increases velocity by 32%, and the hybrid barrel will increase our range by 15% and velocity by 16%. And out of these three, if I am going to choose one of them, it's going to be the long barrel every single time, just so I can really get the most out of that 4-shot kill range. And then finally, when it comes to rapid fire, this will be harming our range and velocity value by 10%, but of course we do see a higher rate of fire and therefore an even faster time to kill. I think it's totally overkill to be using rapid fire on this since you already kill faster than all of the other assault rifles, or at least full auto ones, but you can technically get faster if you wanted to. Then taking a quick look at hardcore game modes, the Maddox is quite good in hardcore as well because it's a 1-shot kill to the body in the first 2 damage ranges. And that extends out to 33 meters, and it's usually not that difficult to keep yourself within 33 meters in this game. Then taking a look at Hipfire, our Hipfire spread with the Maddox is a little bit better than average for assault rifles, so it can hold its own with Hipfire. And now let's get into Recoil. The Maddox has some very interesting recoil and also fairly inconsistent recoil as well. You can see the two patterns do vary a little bit, like sometimes it just really takes over on that horizontal recoil on you. So this looks quite sporadic, and it is if you're holding down the trigger for a long period of time. There's lots of zigzags mixed in there that can definitely throw you off. However, the thing I wanted to point out is your initial shots fired kick basically perfectly straight upwards with very little gaps between them, meaning as long as you're getting your kill within those first few shots that you fire, this gun is very accurate and super easy to control. As you continue to hold that trigger down, this is where it's going to start doing some weird things on you that are also sometimes unpredictable. So that's just something you have to manage with your playstyle. I just find if I'm playing normally and just making sure I'm getting my kills within the first 8 to 10 bullets, I generally have no issues with recoil. It's really just if I'm spraying and praying where it starts to become a problem. Then taking a look at our handling stats, for the most part, we're pretty close to average for an assault rifle. However, our sprint out time does excel a little here. It's the second best in the assault rifle category at 190 milliseconds. So that's one little upside to using the Maddox, whereas the rest are, again, pretty much average, or at least right around the realm of average. And this brings us to our reload time, and our base reload add time is 1.8 seconds, which is a little bit better than average for an assault rifle. And it's worth noting, we get a default magazine capacity at 40 rounds, which is really nice. However, of course, we can improve our reload speeds by using the flip mag or the fast mag attachments, or we can increase our capacity with extended mag 1 or 2. However, extended mag 2 will be harming our reload time by a very noticeable margin. And then finally, for base stats, let's have a look at our mobility, and across the board, we're just a little bit above average for the assault rifle category, so it's not bad in this area. And that wraps it up for the base stats of the Maddox. Now let's talk about our unique prestige attachment, which is the Echo Fire barrel. And with this, it converts the Maddox into a very fast 2-round burst. However, we do see a reduction to our damage values, meaning it's now going to take us an extra bullet to kill within each range window. Although the range windows themselves don't change, even though the pros say it changes our damage and damage range, it's just damages that change. Also, as you can see up close, we have a noticeably slower time to kill value, and then at mid and long range, it's pretty close to the same time to kill. So we're not really seeing any time to kill benefit with this at least. But diving a little deeper into the stats here, based on my hand testing, our rate of fire within each burst of 2 bullets is roughly 1,200 rounds per minute. It's very, very fast. And there's a very short burst delay between those at around 40 milliseconds. Keep in mind with hand testing, especially with really high fire rates like this, it's hard to get like perfectly accurate values, but that at least gets you in the ballpark. And more interestingly, we've got a lot more recoil with this. Now, it's predictable recoil. It kicks upward with a pretty strong lean to the right, but it's a nice straight line. However, the magnitude of that recoil is quite high. It's also worth noting each one of those little 2-round bursts are grouped very, very tightly because the rate of fire is so fast. But you do have to work pretty hard to be counteracting that recoil, and I personally find this attachment to be very odd in its current state because you're getting a worse time to kill potential for more recoil and less forgiveness overall. And I'll be honest, I don't really see any good reason to use this. Maybe if it drastically improved our accuracy, I could make an argument for using this. But as it is right now, this just seems like a straight downgrade to your gun by using this. Sure, it changes how it works a little bit, and maybe just for a change of pace, you might want to try it out. But at the end of the day, I would much rather use the base Maddox over the Maddox with this attachment in every scenario. So with that out of the way, let's now get into a few excellent attachment combinations I've got for you guys. And the first one I wanted to share is my aggressive stealth build. This one suits my playstyle quite nicely. With this, we're using the suppressor. We've got the damage range barrel on this to improve our range by 30%. We have the rear grip that improves aim down sight, slide to fire, and dive to fire times. We've got our aim walking speed stock, so we get a great aim walking speed at 3.8 meters per second. And then we're just topping this off with buffer springs to help with our recoil a bit. And as you can see here, recoil-wise, it's noticeably more accurate than the base recoil. Again, those initial shots fired especially are kicking just straight upward, grouped really nice and tight together. So as long as you're not holding down the trigger for too long, this gun is very, very accurate. And with how I've got it built here, I feel comfortable being quite aggressive with it, and I can hold my own against SMGs up close quite well, while dominating all of the assault rifles. Now, one arguable downside with this is we are using the iron sights, and I wouldn't say the iron sights are incredibly good with the Maddox. They're not bad, I don't mind using them, but that may be something that holds you back from enjoying this. So let's move on to the next setup I've got for you guys, and this is my gunfighter build. With this one, we're really leaning into accuracy. Since we already have a really solid time to kill and handling and mobility stats, why not just make it as accurate as you can at that point? So with this, we're using the ELO sight. We've got the Recoil compensator on there, the damage range barrel, the Vest Drift Lock underbarrel. This is the one that helps with horizontal recoil a bunch. We've got the 40 round fast mag on there just for a faster reload. I feel like 40 rounds is more than enough, so it's just nice to reload that a little faster. We've got the Faraday Quick rear grip. This is the one that helps with aim down sight time, and this is to counteract some of the aim down sight losses we see with a few of these attachments, as well as the recoil stock, and then finally the buffer springs, which also help with recoil. And with this one, you can see it is insanely accurate for those initial shots. It also pretty much eliminates any of that weird zigzagginess as it's kicking upward, even if you're holding the trigger down for a long time. It's not that it totally gets rid of horizontal recoil, it just gets rid of a lot of the recoil that tends to be unpredictable. So that makes this very good at just hanging back and picking people off at range, but you can still play reasonably aggressive with this as well. But then finally, even though I don't like the attachment, I did want to share a setup with the Prestige attachment, the Hipfire barrel. And when using this, I really feel like you've got to use Gunfighter just so you can get enough attachments on here to mitigate the downsides of that barrel. So with this, we're once again using the ELO sights. We've got the barrel itself, the horizontal recoil underbarrel, the 40 round fast mag, the VAS Spire grip, which helps us with recoil, as well as that recoil control stock once again. For our laser, we're using the 5 milliwatt lockstep, which is the Strelic laser. It's the one that allows you to get near perfect accuracy the moment you start aiming down sight. Like your hipfire spread tightens up almost immediately. So even though you're not technically aimed down sight, you're almost as accurate as if you were aiming down sight. And that just makes up for the fact that we do have a slower aim down sight time with this, since I wanted to lean into that recoil so much. And speaking of recoil, we're topping it off with buffer springs. And with all of this combined, it gets a lot of that recoil under control, but I mean, it's still gonna be climbing on you fairly hard. You still have to be pulling to counteract that. It's just easier to handle it with all of these attachments equipped. And I do feel that makes this a lot more tolerable to use this barrel, but like I said, at the end of the day, I don't really like this attachment, and therefore this is not a setup I plan on using often, but I always wanna make sure I'm covering my bases here and sharing a setup with each Prestige attachment in the game. And there we have it. That's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the Maddox RFB. As for my thoughts on this gun, it is absolutely an upper tier gun in this game. Honestly, it's arguably even the best gun in the game right now overall. It's just got no real major downsides outside of a decent amount of recoil if you hold the trigger down for too long. But as long as you're not doing that, there's really nothing wrong with this gun, and it really excels in the time to kill department. Now, of course, these are just my opinions, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about the Maddox in those comments down below. Do you guys agree with me? Do you guys think this is now one of the best in the game? Or maybe not? Do you think it's a little overrated? Just let me know down below. Now, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes of Gun Guides, I will leave a link to the playlist in the description of the video. We have covered the other Season 1 gun that came in the Battle Pass, the Kogot 7, as well as the M15 at this point. And if you enjoyed this episode, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.